goes. Cheyney, Cheyney, alma mater, thou whose like can never fail, with a deep and true devotion, with thy sons and daughters hail. Hear the pledge thy children offer, strong of heart and clear of brain. When thou callest, alma mater, never shall thou call in vain. Thou hast taught us not to falter, to be loyal, brave, and true, striving upward by thy spirit in whatever we may do. And at last, when we have triumphed down that long life battle line, all the honor and the glory, alma mater, shall be thine. See you.
In a world that told us we couldn't, we built a place that told us we could. We stand on their shoulders. They walked so we could soar. They did not wait for permission. They created their own path. And this is the first, the oldest HBCU in America. This is Cheyney University, and may its foundation last forever. Originally known as the Institute for Colored Youth, Cheyney is more than a school. It is a movement that lasted nearly 2 centuries. Every brick, every hallway, every graduation is a reminder we were never meant to fit in. We were born to stand out. The Institute for Colored Youth became a home of hope, a blueprint for brilliance. Cheyney didn't just teach us how to make a living. It taught us how to make a difference.
HBCU grad. See? Ever since I was a little girl, I wanted to be a teacher. When I was in my senior year in high school and I began to look at universities in the area, Cheyney stood out to me because it was the first HBCU and it was known to be a teacher institution. I did my visit and I met a recruiter and he gave me a tour and he talked to me about the different opportunities at Cheyney University. And he asked me what was my GPA and I told him it was about 3-something. He asked me how many credits and I'm like about 20-something. And so therefore he said, you know what, you meet the criteria for our Keystone Honors Academy. So we're offering full scholarships and we want to come and talk to your parents about it. Lo and behold, they came and sat down, talked to my parents, and I was offered a full scholarship to Cheyney University. Woo! That was the blessing. So I was excited to start Cheyney in the spring of 2001 because I was offered that full scholarship. Cheyney shaped me in several different ways in my professional journey. First off, I was a part of Toastmasters International, which is a national nonprofit organization helping people with public speaking, communications, and leadership roles. Currently, I work as a paralegal for the district attorney's office, and I have to deal with lawyers, judges, detectives, court officials, attorneys, etc. With that, you have to have a sense of confidence. That I learned through Toastmasters International. I also switched my major while at Cheyney from education to communications. I thought that was a better fit for who I am and what I really wanted to do, which is be on camera or radio. So with all of that experience, I have had the opportunity to speak in front of large groups, speak on camera. I've even done some acting gigs. So shout out to Cheyney. They really have shaped me in my professional journey.
What's good? I'm Dr. Myron Hargrove, a graduate of the Cheyney University. Went there and received my bachelor's in social relations. Went on from Cheyney University to get my master's in education and counseling at Wilmington University, and most recently continued to get my doctorate in organizational leadership and innovation at Wilmington University. The story of how I got to Cheyney University is kind of non-traditional way. So my cousin first went to Cheyney University back in '95. At the time, I was an 8th grader. I spent a lot of time coming to Cheyney University, partying, acting like I was a college student, but I wasn't. I went on and graduated high school in 2000. So this is 5 years later. Now I'm able to go to college. When I graduated from Central High School in Philadelphia, I went on to Delaware State University originally. Played around a lot, had a lot of fun, met a lot of great people, and had a great time. But college was not academics for me when I got there. So I came home, had to sit down with my mom, thought about how could I get through college? I started to drop out, started to say college wasn't for me. But I decided to go ahead and commute to Cheyney University. So I drove to Cheyney University every day in 2001, Monday through Friday. And I worked full time at night. That's what got me to Cheyney University. I actually did not understand what education was all about before coming to Cheyney University. I had gone to a magnet elementary and middle school, magnet high school, still did not understand education. All I wanted to do was go to school to have fun, be around the people, be around the females. Like I didn't know what school was all about. Cheyney changed that. I got there in 2001, and for a long time of starting to go there, because I wanted to stay out of the light, stay out of the, falling into getting in with the people, having fun, I tried to focus up. So a friend that I knew, Leonard Macon, shout out to Leonard, he was there and was an upperclassman. So I would go to his room in between classes to keep from being on the yard, just so I can stay focused and go to class and go back to his room. Did that for probably a good year and still didn't know why I was at Cheyney and what I was going to do. So I just was taking classes, just taking all my undergraduate courses, my, classes you take as a freshman and sophomore. I started all over after I left Del State from scratch. And finally, I got to a point where I said, I still don't see the point of going to college. And I ran into a professor, Dr. Miles. Shout out to Dr. Miles, who changed a lot of lives. Dr. Miles pulled me aside, and for some reason, he saw something in me. And he said I wasn't trying hard enough. And I told him, like, maybe, school wasn't for me. And he was saying that there was no way that somebody that school wasn't for could get A's and B's and not be trying. It kind of sparked something in me like, well, but that's easy. Everybody could do that. He helped me see not everybody can do that. That's not just easy. It's a gift. And when you got gifts, it's kind of up to you to hone those gifts, shape them, and actually do something with them, because you're being gifted that for a reason for other people. And that got to how I was shaped at Cheyney University. When I finally graduated with a degree in bachelor's in social relations, the talks I had with Dr. Miles, Dr. Zoe, Dr. Parham, Dr. Holmes, they all shaped my career. And I asked Dr. Miles, like, what do I do to pay somebody back like that? Like, to pay y'all back for what you did? And he said, just do this for other people. And I went on a lifelong career of helping young people. Cheyney is everything. Cheyney is always going to have a place in my heart because of what it did for me and shaped me as a young man. So this degree is the degree of degrees for me, the bachelor's, because it took blood, sweat, and tears pretty much to get through this, because I wasn't trying to graduate. So that degree, like I said, Cheyney University, that's the top degree for me. But then I went on to Wilmington University just to prove to myself that, like the long time that it took to get my bachelor's degree, was just me not knowing where I was going. Once I found where I was going, realized that I can go into educational counseling and do less clinical hours. And so I got my master's in education and counseling from Wilmington University. Continued on, did postmaster's classes in child and family counseling. Then I decided, you know what? I'm gonna go on and get my doctorate, because the people that paved the way for me, they had their doctorates. They were able to shape me, and I started planning for the next part of my life, which is now I would love to give that back and actually help train other young people that do the same work that I do, that many of us from Cheyney do. Just talking with Biz, like, just realizing that Cheyney started out as a teacher college, and while that's not what it stayed, the essence of teaching, educating, helping, servicing your community, it's still at Cheyney, and many of the people are living it day to day. But I went on to get my doctorate, still haven't framed it yet, in organizational leadership and innovation and education. Now teaching at Temple University as an adjunct professor, class called Kids in Crisis. Last but not least, I just did a event with one of my brothers from Cheyney now, where we was working with Black males. We wound up having about 25 Black men come out, and it was therapeutic, it was healing, and we're looking to do more. But before I did it, I sent them this, and I'll let you see this. This is a article we did back in the day at Cheyney University with Dr. Zoe. It was in the Inquirer, and it was about how people came up there and did interviews and newscasts when something went wrong at Cheyney. Every time there was a fight, every time there was an incident, we saw the news come up. But nobody ever came and talked about all the learning that was going on, all the education that was going on, all the achievements that was going on. So this article, I sent it to him because we was both in it years ago. So it was destined that we continue to do this type of work. And I'm looking forward to this documentary and seeing what else can be done for our school, because Cheyney University is monumental. It needs to stay in the conversation for years to come, even past our life. See you, motherfucker. See you.
Hey everybody, it's Charlene, I'm here. What made me choose Cheyney University out of all the colleges and universities that I could have went to? Why did I pick Cheyney? Great question. So I was going to Community College of Philadelphia. We had a college fair. Vicki Redmond was there. Anybody else who went to CU, you probably know Vicki Redmond. She was a wonderful person, very warm-hearted. We just got to talking, and she was telling me about the different scholarships available at Cheyney. She was very encouraging. I went on and filled out the information, and then I went on a tour. The campus was beautiful, and I knew that this is where I wanted to be. It did help that I had a full-pay scholarship as well. Not only for tuition, but it covered my books, it covered my meal plan, it covered my dorm. So it was definitely a blessing. Cheyney has had a huge impact on where I am today. And I'll start with relationship building. I met the best people at Cheyney. These people that I've met, a lot of them we're friends to this day. We've watched each other's children grow up. We're there to support each other throughout the whole process of switching careers. That was a huge takeaway from Cheyney. In addition to the relationship building, Cheyney has helped me to come out of my shell in a lot of ways. When I first started at Cheyney, I was very quiet and conservative, and Cheyney really helped me to find that leader within. And because of that, I think that those skills that I acquired while at Cheyney were definitely transferable into the different lines of work that I went into afterwards. I went to Cheyney for early childhood education and then switched majors to social relations, and everything that I've done since in my career has related in some way to social relations. A lot of work in family support services, housing assistance, foreclosure prevention, and now here I am as a realtor. So it's all about giving back, building relationship, just helping and serving people. I know without a doubt that a lot of those skills have come because of my journey, my experience at Cheyney University. Cheyney, I wanted to say I love you. See you forever. Woo-hoo.
I think what made me choose Cheyney was my initial visit with my mom, right? When she took me to visit the yard for the first time. It was, everybody had left for school already and I didn't want to go to college. I was more into the streets, so, but then I seen everybody, it was getting a little tired, you know what I mean? I seen everybody going to school, so I was like, all right, let me go at least check it out. So when they first took me there, my very first spot was Robinson Hall was lit. Smelled like incense and other things, but soon as me and my mom turned the corner on the second floor with Mr. T, I run right into Meech. Demetrius Thorne, which is Miss Thorne's nephew. He went to Brook with me. So that was the first familiar face that I saw. Kind of made me feel like, damn, Meech, go ahead. So he showed me his room. His room was crazy. That was the first thing. So then when we left Robinson Hall, we went to Marcus Foster. And I think I saw Ray Ray. Ray Ray was the second person that I knew, familiar face from my neighborhood, went to Overbrook, popular in my neighborhood, you know what I mean? Obviously, I didn't know how big he was at the time on campus, but Ray Ray was the man on campus. So he was the second person I saw, and he was like, oh man, you coming here? And I was like, I don't know, I'm thinking about it. And he was giving me that nod, like, no, youngin', like, anybody that know Ray, he was like, no, you know, come on, I got you. And I was like, okay. I was kind of sold then. Then my third experience that day came with Hal Dumas, somebody else that I didn't know. He was the man on campus, you know, big time Q dog. I knew nothing about fraternities, none of that. But anyway, I'm a little street nigga. Excuse my French, but I'm looking at him. He got on gold boots and fatigues, and I'm from the hood, so I've never seen this. So I'm looking at him like a weirdo. So I'm looking him up and down. He looking back at me up and down, and we having like a stare off. And up in financial aid when it used to be at top of the hill. So he looks me up and down one more time and say, "What's up, youngin? You coming to this school?" And I'm looking back at him like, "Yeah, I am coming here." He like, "Oh, okay, well, I'm gonna see you then." I said, "Well, you see me then." And that was my first interaction with Dumas. And Dumas actually that's one of my big bros, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Dumas and everybody on that particular line. They big bros. But those three experiences, those three things right there is what made me say, you know what, Mom, yeah, sign me up. I wanna go here. You know what I'm saying? So that's that. I feel like Cheyney shaped my professional journey a lot because Cheyney is real deeply rooted in family and good networking. As soon as I graduated, and still to this day, every job that I ever had came from somebody I knew at Cheyney. And that's like no exaggeration. And I've been out of school 20 years. And I don't think I had a job that didn't come or was attached to somebody who went to Cheyney with me. Cheyney itself and the relationships that I built there with some of these individuals, professors, my colleagues, my homies, everybody, fraternity members. There's a lot of people that I could probably count on more than I can count on my own family. So with that being said, I feel like my professional career would have been nowhere without Cheyney. People can say what they want about our school, but it made me what I am. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have it no other way. If I could go back in time and do it all over again, would I go to another school? Probably not. If I could still go in my era, you know what I'm saying? I feel like Cheyney was, it was that backbone I needed to make me the networking guru that I am today. And I feel like that comes from just us being on the yard, you know what I mean? They took a bunch of black people and kids and stuck them in the woods in a little small town. We ain't know each other, you know what I'm saying? But we grew to become family. Big shout out to Cheyney University, the first HBCU. I don't know what's going on up the road. They misinformed about a lot of things, but I got a lot of love for this school, man. I got a lot of love for the people that went there with me. You know what I mean? Y'all know who y'all are. It's too many names to name, but see you. So, I like what you're doing, and I appreciate you doing what you're doing for our school. You're shooting a documentary, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody see me sometimes like, yeah, you was the man on campus. But I can say this to you. You was the actual man on campus because you was the president. So yeah, you was the man. So me and Kit Kit got a gift for you, you know what I'm saying? It's just for you, because you shooting this joint for the school, little Cheyney joint. I could have picked another color for you, but I didn't know if you wanted to get demographic, like if I gave you a red and white one, or if I gave you a purple one, you know what I'm saying? Some people might feel some kind of way, so I kept it Pittsburgh for you, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, oh, so, man, everybody who you get on this joint, make sure you get one of these, like, because I see a lot of y'all at homecoming. Show me this the challenge. Show me one of these joints, you know what I'm saying? I know you don't got this one. I know you don't got that one, but for those that do, this what I did it for, this right here, you know what I mean? So at the end of your interview, make sure you show your credentials.
Hold on.
I need that best thing from you. There you go. Action.
Okay, so I am a former Miss Cheyney University. I am also a student trustee. I was also a program board president. I started both organizations on campus, the College Republican and the College Democrat. I was a founding member. A lot of the legalities of certain organizations that are up and flourishing, and I'm grateful for. I was hey, like, we need to get this started. I'm grateful that people look to me as, oh, please don't get her involved, because so I'm grateful for being a change agent and a change maker. So I was supposed to be a LaSalle student. I was supposed to come to Cheyney and transfer my second semester freshman year to go to LaSalle. And it was during that time of my first semester trying to figure out where I was gonna go, who I was gonna stay with, because I literally got to Cheyney and I was just dropped off. My caseworker was just like, I'm not driving you all the way down to Bennett or any other the southern schools I wanted to go to. Cheyney was my next option. And I literally was waitlisted for LaSalle, and I said, oh, well, I'll go to Cheyney for a semester, get my credits up, and then transfer over. And that never happened. Well, fortunately for me, I got Coach Washington and a few other notable alumni that was just like, Cheyney's definitely for you. Cheyney definitely was for me. I don't think I would have received the care and empathy had I chose a PWI. What made me stand out in my career fields and things of that nature was the fact that I received compassion so young and empathy so young. And I learned that empathy is actually sitting with that person while they try to figure it out. It's not so much you offering help, but sitting in the situation and being there for that person to help them figure it out. My direct career path, because I was a dual major, I was a social relation, concentration, criminal justice, minor in political science. We all know there's no minors at HBCUs, so I love politics. Currently in the run for congressional office for 2026, your 5th district, but I also been in the criminal justice, emergency management for about 17 years. I do all your training, I do all your facilitating. I am the one that If you want a site to be fixed and get back up to par, they call me. Me and Allied Universal, we have kind of a love-hate relationship. Right now, I'm on the love side of them. Cheyney helped shape me in that my first year I ran for office, I learned how to negotiate, I've learned how to campaign, I learned how to hit pain spots or sore spots. And once I find the sore spot, how to make that sore spot go away. I need everyone. I need all of my Cheyney family. I'm getting ready to do voters registration, barbershop talks. Every little thing matters, everything counts. If you can, if you see my GoFundMe up for my campaign, please just hit a like or share or donate. See you, Kit Kit Philly. Yes, look. See you. Nobody beats the biz. Nobody beats the biz.
All right, how you doing today?
Biz, Marquise, who you want me to call you? What's going on, man?
All right, so introduce yourself.
All right, my friends call me Dane. And if you work for me, you call me Dr. Saunders.
I mean, Cheyney was, in high school, I would say it was like 2000. College wasn't really on my forefront my junior year. And then I waited my senior year, 2001. I was like, oh man, I'm like really about to graduate. Like I really need to apply somewhere. So I had a couple friends that was older than me, Kenny, rest in peace, Rob. And they was already at Cheyney before me. So, and I had been to a couple parties up there, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna see what Cheyney is about. Nobody really mentored me to go there. I kind of just did that on my own, and Cheyney was the only college I applied to. So I knew it was either Cheyney or back to the drawing board. But once I went on campus that summer before the school year started, I'm like, this is where I'm gonna be at. I'll make sure I graduate.
Just coming out of Cheyney, my first real job was while I was at Cheyney. Dr. Miles, my advisor, hooked me up with an internship at Devereaux. I worked with the delinquent population, and I was like, you know what, this is what I want to do. This is where I want to be at. This is where I want to work. So I think that was my junior or senior year at Cheyney. And then once I seen how far my limitations was, I said, you know what, I got to get my master's or I'm going to be kind of stuck at being a residential counselor. My next step was to get my master's at Springfield College in mental health counseling, and I started working at Norristown State Hospital. I started working at different nonprofits in Philly and Norristown. I still felt like there was a limit to my finances and a limit to where I wanted to be at as far as director positions and just, coming from Cheyney, you just feel like the sky's the limit. You just want to keep pushing. So around 2015, I said, you know what? I'm going back to get my doctorate. I'm going to go to Immaculata University and get my doctorate in clinical psychology. Being in this field, coming from small beginnings into where I'm at now, working with the state, and having my own nonprofit, started a online therapy business before it was booming like it is now. So Cheyney is the beginning of all that. None of this would have happened without Cheyney. I'm always prideful to come from Cheyney because I know where I'm going and I know where I came from.
All right, so this is the first and foremost, the essence. Cheyney University, Bachelor's of Arts, like I said, December 2005. So yeah, I was the first male on my mother's side of the family to get a college degree. So this means out of all the degrees, the master's degree, the doctorate degree, this means the most, because without this, there is no this. So this is my baby right here. This is it. You already know what it is. CU all day, every day. First Black Historical College. CU.
See you, ho ho ho, blue fight. Y'all already know. I chose Cheyney University, man, because I had to make a decision. You know, back in the '90s, you know, making that transition. Most of us was raised to go to college, so you know, it was that time in my life where it's I wanted to play ball. So at the end of the day, it was either the other schools in the PIAA or HBCU. So I chose Cheyney University, which turned out to be the best decision in my life. Cheyney has become, from the moment I stepped on campus, an extension of my immediate family. The Mr. Tillers, you know, the Miss Thorns and them, you know, they was prominent people in our lives. Whereas though the things that our parents may have taught us that we thought we was coming to college to get away with, but then they dropped it on us like, yo, come on, you drunk. You know what I'm saying? It's things like this started to make sense to us. That was promised, like, more so because we was all one band, one sound. I mean, we were taught to respect each other, love each other, and you know, that carried on in life. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if you go out in the world, you see anybody from Cheyney, it's like, yo, you from Cheyney, Dad. And if you went to school with somebody from Cheyney and see them somewhere, it's like, yo, what's up, baby, Dad? You know what I'm saying? So, we family. I mean, we family. So, again, shout out to my soul wars, my frat brothers, you know what I'm saying, Blue Phi, and all the other Greeks out there. Even Greek world at Cheyney, it was like a healthy competition. It was like a love, like, when you think you're going to outstep me, let's get it. When you think you're going to outstroll me, let's get it. You know what I'm saying? Sweat and tears and everything. You know what I mean? But again, I love y'all. Young Boy Bees, man, that's putting on the production, man. This is live. You know what I'm saying? But this CU product, what you expect. You know what I mean? But again, Big Kip, man, signing out. Bye.
I'm the one and only Dr. Cheyney Writer, the proud graduate and alumna of Cheyney University, class of 2005. I came in 2001, finished strong within those 4 years, and graduated with one of the most gifted and talented classes to ever step foot throughout our institution. I'm so glad that Cheyney gave me a start, and from Cheyney, I did go on to pursue a master's degree in educational leadership from St. Joseph's University, grabbed a terminal degree, my doctorate in educational leadership with a focus in higher education. But I'm telling you, it is Cheyney that gave me that fuel and even that confidence to be able to move forward. I almost want to get into my rapping bag, Cheyney the first, 1837, we can't forget that. Going down that long road, sometimes past the prison, not knowing sometimes but you knew that once you passed there, that literally you were going into a freedom. Like you literally could be yourself. Cheyney took me in, and I tell people all the time that Cheyney literally saved my life. If it wasn't for Cheyney University, I would not be the proud Black woman that I am today. I wouldn't be a woman that goes out and looks at the world through the lens of my own identity, but also through the identity of the ancestors that helped to push me. Really, also, at Cheyney is where I discovered who God is. And I feel like God aligned my life in a way that Cheyney found me. And by me going to Cheyney, I walked onto the campus. I had been in a predominantly white institution in high school, and going to Cheyney, I was like culture shocked. I was like, like, what in the world is this? It's people from New York, it's people from Patterson, it's people from DC and Baltimore and all over. We even had the queen, like from another country within Africa, that was a part of our class as well. And I'm like, what is going on? There were like non-traditional students. Miss Elaine Okafor, she was there. And I'm like, what is happening? But when I tell you that I'm so glad that everyone else really rejected me, because the other colleges that did not accept me or wanted me to go into some type of delayed, enrollment because of my past academic performance, Cheyney saw really a diamond in the rough. And I am forever grateful for Cheyney University, because they really to tap into who I am. They helped me to discover that just because I did make a mistake with my past academics, that I could move forward. And they gave me a hope, but also helped me to know what resilience really looks like. And so I came to Cheyney 2001, Tubman Hall, on the struggle bus, trying to figure out how I was going to get through. But I'm grateful that that's where I ended up choosing. Really, once I got to Cheyney, I didn't want to go anywhere else. I felt that I had a family in our faculty. I was given lessons of life and from women and men that really had accomplished great things, but they saw me. Like that was the point. Like Cheyney literally saw me. They saw who I was and where I was going. It wasn't all peaches and cream, because everybody, you deal with different personalities, but literally it shaped me into the leader that I am today, and I'm just forever grateful. Above my relationship with Christ, my greatest accomplishment in life is being a wife to this man of God, Brian Ryder, mom to Olivia and to Naomi. They are literally a pride and joy and are why I do what I do. These are just some of the things from Cheyney. This is actually my commencement brochure and book. This is the license plate that I mentioned earlier, that when I get my real luxury car, it's going to be on it. And this right here is the first hoodie I ever bought when Earl was working in the bookstore. In 2001, I purchased this hoodie. It's a size like 3X or 4X, and it's huge on me, but my husband has asked me every year, are you still holding on to this hoodie? And I wear it. They can tell you I wear it, because it just represents so much of a closeness. It represents my beginning. It reminds me of my struggle, so that I know that what I've been through is helping to carry me for where I'm going. So forever, Cheyney University. See you.
Hi, I'm Dr. Hakeem Stovall, Cheyney University graduate of the class of 2000. Got my master's degree in 2004, bachelor's degree in social relations, concentration criminal justice, and my master's degree in adult and continuing education, Master of Science. One of the things that I find passionate about Cheyney University is my family's legacy. My father started, upon graduating Germantown High School in 1974, started on the journey as a student for his first 3 years. And during his senior year, he dropped out of Cheyney University because I was being born at that time. And he used that time to raise myself, my brother Jamal, and my brother Omar, and my sister Leah. Throughout that process, it was his drive and the work ethic that he provided among us and raising us in his household to focus on successfully completing high school and also acquiring a college degree. And what makes me proud about being a part of Cheyney University's legacy was that my father made sure that I graduated from Cheyney University. He made sure that my brother graduated Cheyney University, to the point that me and my brother both graduated, me with my master's degree and he with his bachelor's degree in 2004 together, to the point where he came full circle with my youngest brother upon where they graduated in 2005. with my father finally completing his bachelor's degree and my brother finally completing his bachelor's degree, where it came to the point where my father wanted to make sure that we all graduated successfully first, and then my father would graduate with the last child. That's something that I'm really proud of. And it was something that, my father educated me about Cheyney's history for years, which has allowed me to really cherish the proud legacy of this university. Well, for starters, I initially didn't start off going to Cheyney University. I was, once I graduated high school, me and my neighborhood friends in West Philly, we used to all get together and play basketball at Sarah Rec Center, where a lot of the neighborhood kids would get together and we would all have fun in our childhood. And the question about college came about once I graduated, and my number one focus was I didn't want to go to college. I wanted to initially go to start working at Greyhound or doing like some menial labor work and just enjoy life. And all of a sudden, as I was having a discussion with a good friend of mine, he had recently gotten into a scuffle with somebody. And in that fight, it was because it was just something trivial. I guess it was over a girl. My friend wound up beating up the guy, and his cousin returned to the basketball court and asked him, did he beat up his friend? And I said, well, it was a fair fight. And the guy, my buddy said it was a fair fight. And next thing you know, the guy pulls out a revolver and he just starts firing away at us. And prior to that incident, we were having a conversation about what we were going to do with our lives. And I said, I'm not going to college. And sure enough, through that experience, my friend turned on me and wanted to know how come I didn't take up for him while he was being shot at. Okay. So immediately after that incident, I decided I wanted to go to school. And so one of the board of trustees at Cheyney University, her name was Dr. Audrey Brunson. Her brother was the president of Bethune-Cookman College. And so Dr. Audrey Brunson immediately put me on a bus, a one-way ticket going to Bethune-Cookman College. And once I got there, everything was just like totally nuanced to me. The atmosphere, the southern climate, people, and I got really homesick. And so wound up getting into a fight at Bethune-Cookman College. And Pastor asked me, she said, well, if you're not getting along down there, where else are you going to go? And she said, you know what? I'm going to send you to Cheyney University. And I told her, I said, I don't want to go to Cheyney University. And so she took me on campus. My grades were terrible. And there were folks that worked at Cheyney University that embraced me when I came on the campus. Even though my grades weren't that great, the staff sat with me and they gave me a conditional acceptance to enter the school. And they said, I'm going to give you one semester to turn things around. And through that experience alone, it showed that the people on the university's campus really cared about where I end up within the next 4 years. And also helped align me with a scholarship to play football. And so in terms of my trajectory, that is how I got to Cheyney University. Well, for starters, there were people that I guess now understanding the whole philosophy of socio-ecological methodology, whereas a village raising a child focus perspective comes into play, where there were certain professors who at one particular point in time, I worked at Greyhound. I worked in customer service throughout my college career, and I was on a payment plan at school. And a lot of the professors saw the struggle. They saw that how passionate I was, where I'll be working sometimes 16 hours a day, Monday through Friday, just trying to pay for a degree. It was through that experience alone that there were certain professors that helped to chip into my tuition. My sociology professor in particularly, who's an AKA, her name is Dr. Ann Jenkins, who was recently deceased. She helped cover my meals, my meal plan. If I needed help with transportation, she would provide me financial support, getting a trans pass or paying for a bag of tokens, just so I can go to point A to point B. And she would also sit with me to share valuable lessons about paying it forward to the individuals that are in a similar position that I was in. Just being around that particular atmosphere, there were other teachers, other friends, other classmates who I hold and respect dearly as my family that have really helped to motivate and really instill my passion for the school. See you.
I'm Chairman Commissioner Omar Sabir. The City Commissioners are a 3-member bipartisan board of elected officials, and we oversee all the election functions in Philadelphia. So Philadelphia is critical because Philadelphia is pretty much going to decide who's going to be the president, because whoever wins Philadelphia in the large numbers wins Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania is typically going to win the presidency. It's an 80% chance whoever wins Pennsylvania. And so the 2020 election was my first elections, and it was a lot. My life was threatened. I received international scrutiny for the election that we oversaw. So it was rough. Life was threatened, but we stood tall. That Cheyney power that came into me from Octavius Catto all the way down to the student that's on campus right now, it resonated inside of me, and we delivered the safest, secure election in the history of America.
So why did you choose Cheyney?
Well, I think Cheyney chose me. You know, I wanted to be a construction union laborer. It was kind of iffy, like hot and cold about Cheyney, or just college in general. But about August, Brother Anthony, I'll never forget Brother Anthony, he was a recruiter at Cheyney at the time. And I received a phone call. He said, "Hey man, I'm going through these applications, man. You fill out applications, you want to go to Cheyney." I was like, "Man, I don't know if I'm college material, man. Come on." He's like, "Man, come on up. Just come up and take a little tour. Come up for the weekend. We got a little summer. I forgot it was like a little summer enrichment program, but it was nice. It was the weekend. We took the test. Said, come on up. Came on up. Fell in love. It was a pool party. It was nice, fresh, green grass. So I was excited. And I'm glad that Cheyney never gave up on me. Like, they take unconditional students who don't necessarily may not know exactly where they want to go at, and they chose me and said, come on. I thought I wasn't college material. They said we can take the prerequisite classes. They can do like class that wasn't necessarily going to be college credit, but we'd tune you up and we're going to get you ready for college. And I appreciate Cheyney for that.
How did Cheyney shape your professional career?
Cheyney teaches you how to think from financial aid, from handling whatever business you need to handle. Cheyney was going to make a survivor out of you. And the one thing I learned was a conflict resolution, because it wouldn't be uncommon for you to fight somebody, literally, fist fighting, and then next week you're inside their room playing a video game together. So, I learned a lot, like relationships, and I felt a genuine love from the professors, and it always felt good to talk to somebody that was in charge, that looked like you, understood what your reality was, and came up with a solution. Like, there was a point in time where I was getting ready to get kicked out of Cheyney. And we got all the way up to Dr. White. So he was the vice provost at the time, and they brought him in from Harvard. So, Cheyney, you might know the thing about Cheyney. Cheyney's a rough stop, right? It's working class. And they brought this vice provost from Harvard. And so at the time, I got into some trouble. I'm not gonna say what the trouble was, but I got in trouble. And I was this close from getting kicked out. They wanted to kick me out. And so I was there fighting, going over top of people's heads, and then we finally got to this vice provost. And he said, look, we're not gonna send this young man back to West Philadelphia. Y'all can forget about it. And he said, your penalty for your crime, or what you gotta do, was do community service, clean up the campus, and meet me in the caf once a week, every Thursday at 5 o'clock, and have dinner with me and just tell me about your day. I said, wow, man, like, that's it? He was like, yeah, he's like, that's it. You know, they're not gonna send you back to West Philadelphia. Nah, you're gonna graduate, you're gonna be successful. And, you know, when we sat down and I was thinking about it as I reflect back, that's what restorative like penalties look like. Far too often we just throw our younger men and we throw our younger women away. And it was this Harvard guy, right, who he didn't really fit in at the time because, I mean, he was wearing bow ties. I mean, he was all that stuff. And so the other staff was like, man, kick him, get him out of here. Man, every Thursday, and I forget, Dr. White, he was the vice provost, we would just talk about everything. And at that time, he was just talking to me, encouraging me, mentoring me, saying, hey, you can do this, you can do that. You ever think about looking at life this way? And we set the calf and every week, weekly. And he was there weekly. He wasn't late. He was on time. I was there and we just would talk. And, you know, at that time, I was like my grade was like a 3.0, all right? But then after doing that, I bumped up to about 3.5. So, you know, I never saw myself as a B plus honor student. So I had that interaction with Dr. White.
What made you choose Cheyney? I feel like Cheyney chose me. It's like an accident. I feel like I tell this story all the time, but I'm gonna tell it again because I mean it's the truth. And shout out to Jamie Robinson if she ever get a chance to see this video. So I came up to Cheyney. My man was on a visit. He's back there talking with the admissions person. Jamie was doing work study in the admissions office. And I called myself trying to flirt with her, whatever. The lady is done with my man. She like, you trying to come to Cheyney too? And I'm like, well, do she go here? And she like, yeah. I'm like, well, sign me up. And literally that's how I got to Cheyney. That's literally it. I think the intentionality of the professors to get to know the students and help guide students to where they trying to go. Like I came to Cheyney, I had no direction or where I wanted to go with my life. I just knew that it probably was better to try to figure that out on a college campus than on the street. You know, I met Dr. Lynn Green, and she was like my first advisor up there. You know, she just really looked out for me and guided me, kind of guided me down the path of social work. But then she got injured, then returned to Cheyney for a number of years, and I met Dr. Z. And then Dr. Z, if you ever had a Dr. Z class at Cheyney, you know the gut punch conversations. Dr. Z, critical conversations, some real gut punching conversations kind of set me on the path to make me feel like social work is where I needed to be, but maybe education might be where I needed to be as well. Dean Williams, the Alpha guy, remember Dean Williams? He was over the Keystone Honors. You know, he helped me get in Keystone Honors so I wouldn't have like crazy bill to pay. So I'm definitely thankful for that. I think the people on the campus that wrapped around you and made sure that you was good and made sure that you got what you came to Cheyney to get. You know, like Mr. Howell, Mr. Derek Howell, my one and only dorm director. You know, I had some situations that had me reprimanded to the state of Pennsylvania. And then those same situations had me reprimanded to Cheyney's campus. The person that was overseeing my reprimand, built a rapport with Mr. Howell, and Mr. Howell, without provocation, volunteered to be his eyes and ears on the campus when it came to my supervision. I appreciate Mr. Howell for that, and that, that kept me out of a lot of trouble as well. Yeah, so I'll just say the people, the relationships, and I guess just the genuine care for people in that story that came to Cheyney.
How did Cheyney shape your professional development?
I think the first thing is like when I hit the professional world, building relationships meant a lot because that's what Cheyney taught me. Cheyney taught me the importance of building relationships, the importance of self-advocacy, the importance of like doing the work. Like it's one thing to say you have all these accolades, but are you doing the work? Because the work is going to always reveal itself if you're doing it. But just like any Cheyney student, you come up and you got one idea what your major's going to be, and then 3 years in the game, you do a whole pivot and choose a whole nother way or a whole nother route, and then the next thing you know, you're going down that path. And that was kind of my thing. I did the social work thing for a couple years right out of college, and I just decided to go a whole new route. Went back to school, attended Cabrini University, got my master's and my doctorate from there, and then came out of there and was in education. I've been in education honestly about 2013. I've been in education, maybe about maybe 2011, around that time, working in charter schools, working for Camelot, Wordsworth, things of that nature, and then I finally got into the school district. Now I work for I'm a principal at John Berry Elementary in West Philadelphia. Prior to that, I was the assistant principal at Vaux High School in North Philadelphia. Then prior to that, I was a climate manager at Alexander McClure in the Hunting Park section of North Philadelphia. So, anybody that's familiar with Philadelphia, all those schools was in the trenches. When you're working in the trenches, you got to have relationships. You got to have relationships with your kids. Got to have relationships with parents. Got to have relationships with your coworkers. My foundation on that relationship building comes from Cheyney University, building relationships with people from different cities and states on the campus, building relationships with professors, coming to some sort of understanding and conflict resolution with people that you thought was your enemy, and come to find out it's just a 6 degrees of separation, a conversation that separated you from those people. And now, when I see those people, we good friends and we converse like those things that happened when they did happen never happened. And as far as I'm concerned, they never happened. And so I think that's the biggest thing that I took from Cheyney with me: relationship building, knowing your personnel, knowing the lay of the land, and not being afraid to have those conversations that need to be had. And that's what's gotten me this far in life. So, if I had if it's any words I could leave for like the next Cheyney students coming up, it's like, that's not where you start. I'm gonna give you a couple of soliloquies if I can. I think the first one, and everybody talk about, it's not where you start, it's where you end. And as long as you got 2 feet on land and you living and you working, you ain't at your end yet. So don't worry about where you started at, your starting point. Just worry about where you're trying to get to. So when the game ends, you where you need to be. Another one of my soliloquies is just like, do your job. Trust your teammates to do their job so they can trust you to do your job, and you're gonna be hella successful, bro. I can't explain it no deeper than that. If you at work, whatever the job is, whatever the task is, do the job, do the work. Don't try to go around the work. Don't try to circumvent the work. Don't try to substitute the work. Do the work. And it's all going to pay out for you in the end. And, go Cheyney. Go Wolves. Here we go. I just want to give a heavy shout out to the first HBCU founded in 1837, Cheyney University. Institute Color Youth, however you want to name it. It's all the same university. Heavy shout out to our fallen wolves, my man Dean, my man JJ, Tay, brother Blackshear played basketball up there. He passed away when I was up there. Just all the Fallen Wolves, staff force students, man. Heavy shout out to all the alumni and our future alumni. Love y'all, man. Cheyney, just keep winning, man. Keep winning, keep doing the work. I'm going to love the school forever. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to get a higher education and propel me to where I'm at right now. I don't know if I would be where I'm at right now without Cheyney University. Shout out to Biz and the work he doing, and everybody that still got their arms wrapped around Cheyney and want to see the school and the students be successful. Peace.
It's me, the Big Bird from Pittsburgh, otherwise known as the Lemonade Lady, as y'all know me now, in my club community, Bombshell, and in the school district of Philadelphia, in which I work for Ms. Walker. In Pittsburgh, as a 12th grader at John A. Brashear High School. Whoop, whoop, shout out to us, class of 96. I needed to choose a path. And my path was, I'm gonna just stay home and be my boyfriend's girlfriend, because I thought that was the best option. We had been together for umpteen years being kids, and I thought that being somebody's homemaker wife was the idea, and that's all I needed. So my mom said, it's not gonna be enough. So Doreen Price, thank you so very much for the push, because my mom didn't have it. So she pushed me. I ended up meeting Booker Reeves, and he was Cheyney's advocate. As alum himself, he said, hey man, give Cheyney a try. I was in a high school that was predominantly the lighter shade of brown, and he told me to give Cheyney a try. I applied, and lucky for me, Act 101 accepted me. I wasn't the greatest student. I did have a good SAT score, but Act 101 accepted me. So I packed up, y'all ready? 44 boxes in a U-Haul truck and 2 suitcases. And I climbed on the Booker Reeves bus and transitioned myself from Pittsburgh to Philadelphia and to Cheyney. And I spent 6 months in tears because I wanted to go home, because this is not what I wanted. I didn't want to be a college student. I wanted to be at home in Pittsburgh, where it was safe, where my little city fits inside of this city that I'm currently in, and I was safe. And when I got to Cheyney on probably day 3, I'm walking down the main road from Tubman down to Truth, and on the plot were 2 Qs. Those 2 Qs, Andre Taylor, my Johnny 5, saved my life, and Raphael Zayas. So that 5 and that 15 that day made me feel like Cheyney was safe, because I didn't feel safe. I felt like I was losing everything because I left home and I came here, and I became probably 1 or 2 of the only people who left the Pittsburgh area to go to college. And I got to Cheyney, and then I got a big brother and a big sister. Those 2 people, Darnell Day, Phi Beta Sigma, and Nicole Chase, Delta Sigma Theta. Those 2 people, oh man, I ended up with 4 champions in less than 6 months at Cheyney. 4 champions, who's that lucky? And those 4 people, they shaped a lot of me. Ralphie led me in a proper direction. At that point, he was my safety net. Dre, my ultimate big brother. Darnell, my savior. And Nick, just keeping me right as a lady in that space. That's what led me, and that's how Cheyney shaped in the beginning for me. After that, you couldn't peel me away from Cheyney University, the first historically black college and or university in the state of Pennsylvania. Now, no harm to them Lincoln cats, because I love one. I love her to death. My work bestie, but them numbers don't lie. Jay don't lie. He said them numbers don't lie. That 1837 definitely coming in before that 1854. But we love y'all. With my degree in criminal justice, and thank Cheyney University for Dr. Miles. And y'all know Doc. But thank Cheyney University for Dr. Miles, all of y'all who ran into him. Because when I was struggling after I became a mom, Doc helped me. He made it okay for my daughter to come to school with me. As long as she was quiet in her desk, working, he didn't give me no stress at all. And Janiyah was with me at Cheyney. And Doc held me down. He let it go. He let her ride. He said, hey man, if you ain't got nowhere for her to go, bring her. And I brought her. It didn't last too long, but I brought her. Because daycare opened across the street and then she was at daycare. But having my degree in criminal justice shaped what I thought that I wanted to do, which was I wanted to be the warden in a female prison. But I said, you know what? Starting at the top and working my way back might not work. Let's head towards these kids. So I figured I started at the bottom, try to cut the recidivism for these babies coming back, because they went in and they come back, and they went in and they come back, and they went in and they come back, and nobody's helping them, and nobody's showing them that they loved, that they're loved. So off to the schools I went. So in Philadelphia School District now, you talking about started from the bottom. I started at classroom assistant, from classroom assistant. Mind you, I have a degree. Classroom assistant, then climate staff, then the job that I loved most honorably, being a school police officer for the School District of Philadelphia. That job held a lot of space for me because I was able to reach those kids and they could talk to me, and I wasn't the person that would get them in trouble. So I found out a lot of things and I helped cure a lot of problems as a school police officer. So I'm very thankful for that job. But now you run into Miss Walker, the administrator for the School District of Philadelphia. Now, I may not be the principal, and which I'm working on that now. Quiet. I may not be the principal or the vice principal, but I am the climate manager, and I manage the entire climate of a school. So if you guys know me, you know that this huge personality can manage the climate of any space because you've been around me. And I manage the climate of my space. So I just touch base with my kids so easily because currently right now I have a teenager and I have a 22-year-old. So it's so easy for me to just wiggle into those spaces and touch those kids in ways that their parents and other administrators in our buildings and their teachers and other adults are not able to, because I'm still kind of in a space. I'm a crazy sneakerhead, crazy. Right now, currently, if we took a little walk, it's about 300 pairs of sneakers downstairs because I'm a crazy sneakerhead, but I'm also thankful for the other job I got. I work at DTLR. Shout out to DTLR. My supervisor, Miss Nick, I love you. But Cheyney shaped all of those things because as Coach Jay, on the hour, not the ish. He said that to me so many times that is ingrained into me, that I have to be on the hour and not on no bull-ish, because that's what he meant. Be on time, be accountable, be present, be willing, and within willing, be willing to listen, be willing to give, be willing to speak when you feel that things are not correct, and be willing to just be there for somebody else. So I'm Little Miss Willing. I'm willing to do whatever it is. And Cheyney shaped those things by making me persevere. Because we have air conditioning. Y'all new cats, y'all got that. We have phones. Y'all new cats, y'all got that. We had phones in the hallway. Y'all got phones in y'all rooms. We had phones in the hallway. And there was a payphone. And we all shared it. But y'all know nothing about those days. Cheyney shaped so many futures by just helping us to persevere through such bad times, y'all would call it, but awesome times we would call it. I was at Cheyney during the blizzard in 96. We ain't had no power, but guess what? Boy, none of us would have left because we hold Cheyney down. Cheyney here, okay? Cheyney will always be here. Cheyney saved my life. Cheyney made me, Nicole Walker, Big Bird from Pittsburgh, Bombshell in my motorcycle community, and Miss Walker in the school district of Pennsylvania, the human being that I am from sheer perseverance. Cheyney is irreplaceable in my life. I wouldn't trade her for love, Cheyney. I wouldn't replace that lady for anything. And she is my vision of her, and I always make her her, is the strongest black woman I've ever met in my life. She done got her ass kicked. People saying that she's not the first when she always has been the first. And she turned it over again. All right, I'm gonna learn something new, I'm gonna get something new. And she turned it over again. Okay, I need that, I'm gonna grab that. And she turned it over again. That lady is somebody's mother. Because every time she just turned it over again. This ain't working for us, I gotta do more for my family. I gotta do more for my family. I gotta do more for my family. And that's what she did for all of us. And all of us as alumni to recognize that's what she did for us. Because without Cheyney, boy, so many of us would be in shambles. So many of us. Look what she did for you. And I didn't know she did that for you. That's crazy. I would never trade her. Never. Never. I hold on to this shit with Lincoln people because they always surround us. With that, we those degree granting. But without us, getting black folks in to even get an education, you couldn't have granted the degree.
Ready?
Yeah, fucking soul. So shut up. Action. All right, so my shouts. Of course, first and foremost, Donzel Tiller, thank you for letting me be the president of La Original Fashion Guild, because we tore up them floors at all time. Thank you so much. Thank you, Cheyney University, to my king, Shortcut. Me and you, homecoming king and queen. You always say my queen, you will always be my king. To my crew, VP, where would I be without you? Lenore, PJ, Kiana, CEO, that's you. Saeed McFadden, where would I be without you? To all those boys at home in Pittsburgh from Dallas Ave, y'all help me up. Thanks to DOG, thanks to Musto, thanks to Tulo, thanks to Carla, thanks to Tiff, all of y'all, thank you, my OGs, for holding me up. I love y'all.
Kid, welcome to the Cheyney experience, man. The way Cheyney helped me, It made me a man. I went from being somebody in the streets to becoming a solid man with a degree, taking me to the next level where I'm working with professional athletes and doing different things big in my community.